Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Dominions 4 Multiplayer Showdown, episode 11 for this series. This is going to be turn 30, and take a look at that. I kind of think I saw this coming. I mentioned it last episode with the buildup of troops on the border. Before we go ahead and watch these battles, I want to say something. We can what if it to death all we want and say, you should have done this, you should have done that, and you guys are probably going to be correct. Because I'll admit, I messed up a little bit. I probably should have bolstered my forces on Ermor a little bit more. And, I mean, in my defense, you guys did have the hindsight. And so I figured they were going to attack me. I had the most accessible throne in the area, but that's just how it goes. So we're going to go ahead and watch all of this. It could potentially be the end of the game. If it is, no big deal. But let's watch and see what's going on. We got a message. Greetings, ally. The main army of Pangaea appears to be on the march and possibly heading to 31 this turn. When you read this, I'm still 2 turns from taking the throne of air, the Druid High Council. Okay, which they did attack us, and all good things, man. Fair enough, Pangaea. Fair enough. All good things. Hey, somebody's got to win the game. Let's go ahead and see what's going on here. So I believe this is where, yeah, this is like a magic ability. And I think we didn't seem to have much of an issue there. And we did actually kill that unit, but we also died. And our god survived, so that's good. And it looks like our Mound King survived. And then there was the battle. We're going to watch the battle. I can guarantee we lost, pretty much, because, yeah, it's exactly what I expected. I just don't have... I didn't put enough forces on there to fight this. I just did not have enough forces on there. I should have moved my main army to here, but I kind of expected to attack Pangaea at some point. I was kind of prepping to do that. I figured they were probably going to come for me soon. But sometimes that's just how it goes. We'll see how we do anyway, see how many units we take down. But chances are, I can already assume we lost this battle and he's got the throne. And that'll pretty much be the end of it. Being that he's attacking me, his forces are probably going to be almost way more than set up compared to me. You can see lots of magic abilities being cast here. Cavalry just being absolutely obliterated. Luckily, our main force is somewhat well established. But I don't have any mages in this army. I did not send any up. Archers are doing alright. I do have a fairly large province defense force here, just not a lot of units here. And very well unorganized considering that it was the province defense. So now they're going to come in with a trample, and that's where things are going to get really ugly. We'll just go ahead and fast forward this. And let it be a thing. Oh, look at us just get ran over. Hey, we put up a fight. I will say that. I'm not sure how many of these units died here. I don't think it was too many. We could take a look after. But there we go. Forces are definitely routed. Just an absolute mop. So I'm not really sure how the other two players are going to react to this. Let's see. We could take a look. So, definitely I took the blunt of the casualties. But, there was death on both sides. Definitely not as many of them. But, yeah, that throne is totally gone. And I imagine they're probably going to take it next turn, so chances are this is more than likely the end of the game. Unless the other two players can do something about it, it's the end of the game. So, the only thing that makes logical sense for me to do at this point is to go ahead and move all of my forces towards here. Now, I've got 2 provinces to do that. You can see that I can't get there in time. That's just how it is. I'm not too concerned about it. That's just how the game plays. But we'll go ahead and move all of our forces into the area anyways. By some chance, the enemy, or will the other players end up potentially maybe taking a throne? I think Mervani said they were 2 turns from taking one. Or if Helheim goes in there and maybe causes some damage, but I think they're pretty beat up. But if something like that ends up happening, it's always possible that the game could be delayed longer, but I don't think it's going to be. I'm pretty sure he's just going to claim that throne next turn, and I'm almost positive that's the last throne he had to claim. But just in case, we'll go ahead and move all of our forces somewhat into the area. Because you never know. Anything could happen. Well, might as well put a... There we go. And we'll make sure these guys are all moving. Oh, we need you as well. There we go. So now we've got everyone. We can leave our Profit there. I'm not really that... This is like it's really just a win or lose situation at this point. So it's not like I have to worry that much about where everybody goes. And we'll go ahead and we'll grab this unit up as well. So that'll have everybody kind of in the same area. So again, I don't expect much. I figure what's going to happen is next turn rolls by, the game will be over. They're going to claim it with the Prophet's going to claim it, and unless Mervani or Helheim can do anything about it, and I don't believe they can, we're going to lose this throne, and Pangea is going to win the game, which is fine. It's all a part of it. I do want to say that, well, I guess I'll spend the next episode kind of explaining some of the things about it. So basically what I'll do this episode is I'll go ahead and end the turn, since we can expect that they're going to take this throne here. And we'll see what the next turn brings. So thank you guys, and I'll see you next turn. Alright, and here we are, turn 31. I saved it on this screen because I didn't want to click over just yet. I know exactly what to expect. So here we are at turn 30, and the game is over. That's right, it is over. And it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with it. I do wish that I had gotten a little bit more involved in what was going on. I didn't really get to get too involved in the wars going on, which I feel a little bad about. But I still had a lot of fun. So for those of you who don't know, I'm going to say it again. I've said it several times, but I'm going to say it again. This is only the 4th time I've played this game. I'm brand new to it still, and it's my very first multiplayer game, so I didn't really know what to expect when I was coming into this. So be gentle on me. I already expect a couple people are going to be like, oh my god, you suck. Yes, I do suck, because I'm brand new at the game. So bear with me. I am learning the ropes of it. I still had a ton of fun. I really hope you guys had a lot of fun watching it. If I could go back and talk about some of the mistakes I made, well, there's a lot of them, so there's really no point in talking about all of them, but some of the big ones I think is I definitely should have reinforced the throne. When I saw that becoming an issue, I didn't put enough forces on there. I moved an army over to there, kind of expecting that Pangea was going to go for that, being the most accessible throne for them. But I made the mistake of leaving my god and my main army locked up on my fortress when I should have moved them to the Throne of Bones. So that was a huge mistake on my part, not doing that. Let's go ahead and take a look at these real quick. So if we look at Mervani, they said that they will require one more turn to stop his nefarious plans, but we know that it didn't take any turn anyways. But that's okay, because Pangea says that we can still hang out in his grove, so that's pretty cool. I guess we're still invited to the party. But there you can see he claimed the Throne of Bones. I got 5 nature gems, so that's pretty cool. And then Rejoice, a true god, has ascended. And we can see here that the Dancer, god of eternal force, king of the oceans, the whirlpool, great ruler of Pangea, has led his people to victory. And we can actually take a look at the map, which is pretty cool because we can see how everybody was somewhat set up, since I didn't even really know how they were set up. So why don't we take a look at this real quick? You can see we've got me. I'm very tiny compared to a race like Pangea or the other races. We can see Mervani here is not as big as well. He's fairly small too. Bigger than me. I was definitely the smallest nation, but yeah, he's small. A lot more fortresses than me. That goes to show me how far behind I really was, which is good though. This is good for me to see, because I could take a lot from this game. So close to taking a water province too. I really felt like maybe 2 or 3 more turns and I would have been conquering all the water provinces. We can see Helheim here. We're very small as well. I believe they did expand up into these parts at one point, but then they were pushed back pretty far. They did have this throne. I definitely was lucky enough to start right next to 2 thrones. It was a shame that I couldn't hold this one. And then you can see Pangea where they really just expanded and blew up. I mean, they took a lot of Helheim. There's other stuff that I know happened in the game that I don't want to talk too much about, because I think that we're all going to kind of get together and talk about it in one big episode. which would be fun. Don't quote me on that. It's a plan. It's not something we know we're doing yet, but hopefully by the time these turns release, we'll already have announced it to you guys. If it does happen, if it doesn't happen, don't hold me against it. But it was a plan for us all to get together and talk about the video. And talk a little bit about the series and some of the good things we did and the mistakes we made. I've got a lot of mistakes to talk about, so I could spend the whole episode just talking about mistakes. But yeah, so that's the map for anybody that might have been interested in seeing it. We can take a look at statistics, I believe. There's a nation overview screen if anybody wants to pause and take a look. I'm not sure I'm sure the other guys will show these off as well. But for anybody that might want to look at these, I'll go ahead and kind of go through them. You can see that I was definitely the lowest on provinces. Helheim at one point, a little bit below me. Forts, I was awful with. Income, I was awful with. Gem income, I was actually almost #1, so I was doing good on gem income. Research, I wasn't doing bad on research. I was alright on research. Dominion, I had a pretty strong Dominion. And army size, I actually surprisingly had one of the largest armies up until the end there. So that's interesting to note. I took a real big spike here. And then I had a fairly large army. I wish I had actually done something with it, but I didn't. And yeah, so that's it for the screen and everything. So just talking a little bit about some of the mistakes I made. If we do end up doing a video all together, I don't want to harp too much on it. But basically, I can say that the #1 mistake I definitely made was not moving my god and my main army up to defend that throne, since the thrones are how you win the game anyways. It was kind of silly of me not to make that move. Especially when I saw that large force building up right on the border. I should have immediately known what was coming because Pangaea only needed 1 throne. I was warned about it several times by the other nations. I did a poor job of reacting. I did move forces there, but it just wasn't enough. I completely underestimated how many forces I would actually need to defend that province, even though I had defense forces there. Another mistake I made that I probably could have done is I could have probably put a fort on there. But I really didn't have the gold for it. And the fort that I did build where I built it was simply to make it easier for me to recruit archers and other units and build up armies in that area. I can be honest with you guys, I didn't really expect, I did expect to eventually lose the throne, but based off the communications I had with the other 2 players on what was kind of going on around them and whether or not they were lying to me is, you know, it doesn't really matter. But between the communications I had with them, I was under the impression that I wouldn't have to worry about Pangaea at least for a couple more turns. I felt like they were fairly wrapped up with the other 2, but I guess not. I mean, what can you say? They saw an opportunity to get an easy throne and they got it. And that's really all to say to that. But yeah, so hopefully I'm going to try to convince the others. By the time you see this episode, I'm sure we'll already have put something together. But if not, I'm going to try to get the other guys together and we'll all do a big video to kind of talk together about, you know, what our greatest successes were, our greatest failures, and all sorts of stuff like that. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And it just goes to show you guys that no hard feelings in this game, really. Nobody, I don't think any one of us, I mean, I know I didn't have an issue with anybody, but I'm still new to the game, so maybe if I was a little bit more professional, I would take it more seriously. I don't know, but I don't think I didn't have an issue with anything. I mean, we lost and it was kind of my fault, but so what? That's how you play the game, and that's what makes it fun. So losing is fun. So yeah, I'll try to get the other guys together and we'll have a big powwow and talk a little bit about the game and what happened. But again, I do want to reiterate, this was my 4th game. If you guys want to attack me on what I did wrong, that's fine, because constructive criticism and I'll learn for the next games. Just please be gentle on me and understand that I am fairly new, and even the other games I played were all single-player games and I wasn't very good at it. I'm still very much learning the ropes because there's so much to the game, so many different combinations, so many different, you know, counters to certain builds, and it's very hard for me to learn it all so quickly, especially in between playing other games on my channel. It's hard for me to sit down and really delve into it, but man, this was so much fun. I had such a blast with this, and I know for a fact, one thing I do know for a fact is you guys can definitely expect more Dominions 4 on my channel, with even some more single player, but really you guys can expect a lot more Dominions 4 multiplayer, because this was a lot of fun, and I feel like I can get better over time if I keep playing, and I may be the only one that dropped the ball on this, but I think we're all kind of planning to play another Dominions 4 multiplayer game sometime in the near future. So I suggest hanging around and keeping an eye out for when that happens. So I want to thank you guys for joining me. My name is Sabouts. We had a blast. We lost, but losing is fun. So I hope you guys did enjoy this multiplayer series, and I hope you guys will hang around for the podcast. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you next time.